Hi peeps, it's Tess back in the old squat box again, and I'm going to be throwing up a couple of clips from one of the cooking programmes I watched, the Hairy Bikers. I hope you enjoy it. It's basically the sort of stuff that I like to sit and watch when I'm eating my dinner or having a small drink. This one's bad.
Driven by immigration and inquisitive eaters, dishes we once thought of as highly out of the ordinary are now high street favourites.
So to get something that really stretches the adventurous British palate requires a flair for the unusual.
And they don't come any more unusual than the recipes of Dan Creedon at Archipelago.
Part amazing cuisine, part bush tucker trial, Dan is on a mission to make us try dishes most of us would never have imagined eating.
Our tagline is explore the exotic, and that's kind of the whole point. We just want to broaden people's horizons when it comes to food. Today we're going to be doing what we call the sharing platter. It's kind of a taster menu. It's got some crocodile, it's got some alpaca, it's got some kangaroo.
Hold the phone. Did he just say crocodile?
The crocodile is actually from Zimbabwe. We mince it up and marinate it with a Thai Penang curry. The crocodile is farmed. Obviously, you couldn't eat wild crocodile. They eat things that have been dead for 3 months. You'd end up dead yourself.
Good to know.
They're farmed for their skin, and the meat is just a byproduct.
Of course, eating exotic food doesn't mean cooking up rare species. This didn't do the dodo any favours, and nowadays there's no excuse for eating endangered types of animal.
However strange, everything Dan cooks is sustainably sourced, whether it's a croc or a kangaroo. When you're dealing with meat or any food that isn't exactly commonplace, you have to pay extra attention to where it came from. I'm quite partial to a bit of crocodile, mate.
People always try and say it's like chicken, but they say the same about frog. To be honest, people say the same about any kind of white meat, which they've never tried before, but it's not particularly chickenish. It's closer to a very meaty fish.
Ah, it's got a bit of a bite to it, hasn't it?
Oh, dude, did you have to?
At the end of the day, it's a reptile. It tastes like reptile, it looks like reptile. Snake is similar, other lizards are the same. That's what reptile flesh is like.
Oh, I'm not convinced.
Next, I'm gonna do the alpaca, which is called ropa vieja, which is Spanish for old clothes.
There's crocodile. Now old clothes.
I thought there were usually more jumpers than dinners.
Alpaca is more farmed as a, like we farm sheep for wool. At the end of the day, people in the Andes aren't going to waste anything. When it's time for the animal to die, they're going to eat it. This is a lovely gamey, strong, flavoursome meat, which is traditionally cooked for 8 to 12 hours, something like that. So, I mean, it's obviously using old animals. If you're eating a 4-year-old working animal, it needs a fair bit of cooking.
Apparently, alpaca stew gets its name, old clothes, from being colourful like a pile of washing, rather than its taste.
I quite like the look of this one.
And the strangeness doesn't stop there. Next up is some Aussie kangaroo.
This is the kangaroo. They are wild animals. They're not farmed. So this is marinated in a spice called zoug from the Yemen, which is one of my favourites. It's kind of a Middle Eastern curry type spice blend.
I recognise curry. Curry can make anything taste good.
The cooking is as dramatic as the ingredients. Dan fries up his crocodile dolmades and the alpaca is ready to go.
As you can see, the meat is completely almost pureed. This isn't supposed to be a stew. It's, I suppose, more similar to like a pate or something like that, that kind of consistency.
Nice. That just leaves one last course.
Here we've got locusts and crickets, which I'm going to fry up with a chili, galangal, garlic sauce, and that'll go on top of the salad.
He just slipped that one in, didn't he? Crickets and locusts.
It's a brave soul that has a go of them.
In many of the countries where they're eaten normally, they will often just fry them up with some flavour and eat that. But what we do to make them a little bit more palatable, we bake them, almost dehydrate them in the oven first, which makes them drier and crispier. It's almost like eating a pork scratching or something like that. As far as I know, more than 60% of the world's population eat insects regularly. So out of the two, the locusts tend to be the more easily acceptable. The crickets are a bit more unusual.
Yes, locusts are perfectly normal eating, Dan.
I think I'll have my medium rare, please. Thanks very much. Oh, lovely.
Well, dinner's ready. Let me just get this straight. We've got crocodile in vine leaves, alpaca stew, kangaroo curry with locust and cricket for afters. Right you are.
Well, I'm quite looking forward to revisiting some of these, Dave.
Unfortunately, it's not us eating it, but the International Food and Wine Society are. I hope they know what they're in for.
We go for classic French and Italian, English sometimes, maybe the occasional Chinese, but for the most part we're fairly conservative.
Has he seen the menu?
I've never ever come across alpaca before on a menu, and I can't wait to try it.
Well, first up, you've got to get past the crocodile.
Oh my gosh.
It's really very nice actually. It's a bit lighter than I'd expected it to be, and probably a little bit fishier.
Interesting.
Kangaroo I've taken in my stride.
Well, Skippy is a hit too.
Very tasty.
Maybe there's something to it after all.
What about the old clothes?
Oh, this is beautiful.
Yes.
This is...
Think she likes it. But oh dear, what will they make of the insects?
The first time I ate an insect when I was a child, and it was raw and it was jumping around, so I'm quite looking forward to trying it. Right.
Stand by.
Oh.
So we usually go by
Oh, that's very crunchy.
It'll be on sale in the
Tastes a lot better than it did when I was 10 years old.
Actually, it's really tasty and very nice.
Told you it was tasty.
A very pleasant snack. You could sort of thing if I had a little bag of them in the car, I'd quite happily eat them.
Well, that's all food for thought. There might be unusual ingredients, but they all get the thumbs up from the diners.
This meal is the most amazing fusion of different continents. South America, Africa apparently with the crocodile. The insects seem to be eaten on several continents, so we're really... You can't place this. It's more than fusion. It's the whole experience, the whole world, isn't it?
These dishes are about as exotic as you get.
And once you get past the fact that you've never eaten them before, the rewards are more than just novelty eating. They're great food.
There are some special dishes that you might eat on a night out, but would be intimidated from trying to make in your own kitchen.
So we're going to demystify one school of food that is a real treasure when you know how.
Sushi! Sushi! You can't whack it. It's a nourishing and tasty snack. Whoever thought of putting like rice, raw fish, like a mustardy thing and some ginger together with soy sauce, this taste explosion in your face. Oh, it's lovely.
We're going to show you how to make a few sushi dishes that look fantastic, taste beautiful, and are a bit fiddly, but are a lot of fun and well worth it.
Sushi starts with the rice. In fact, sushi means rice. It doesn't mean raw fish. It's vinegared rice. And it has taken us blooming ages to get this right in a domestic environment. This seems like a faff on with your rice, but it works. This is Japanese sushi rice. It's a short grain rice. It's a bit sticky. It's a bit firm. It's just right. Now, it needs treating with respect. First off, the washing process.
And you wash it not once, but thrice.
Right. We just leave that to stand now for 15 minutes. Now we need to boil up some water with, if you can find it, some kombu seaweed. We pop the rice in. Stir it once. Like that. Put the lid on. Bring it to the boil. Simmer for 10 minutes. Whilst that's cooking, we need to make some rice dressing. So we start with rice vinegar. 200 ml of vinegar. Pop that into a pan. Into that vinegar, we want 4 tablespoons of sugar and 4 teaspoons of salt. And heat that up till it dissolves, which won't take long. Then set aside for it to cool. And this is what we dress the rice with. After 10 minutes, the rice should have absorbed all the water. Now we turn the heat off and we leave that for 20 minutes just to settle in its own steam.
Don't take the lid off.
Cup of tea.
Yeah.
Right, the time has come. The rice is done. Using a wooden rice paddle, you put the rice into the bowl. As you can see, it's cooked through. There's no water in the bottom. There's no mess.
Now, let's dress the rice.
And basically, you sprinkle it over the rice and kind of cut it through with a slicing motion, but hopefully not mashing the hot rice, right? And then it's got to be cooled. Not in the fridge, but with a fan. This process is known as pearlising the rice, and it kind of produces this sheen on the rice. So you want 10 minutes like this, then using the rice paddle, turn the rice over, fan for 2 minutes, turn it over 2 minutes, turn it over 2 minutes, then it should be fine to use. Done this at home sometimes, I've just put an electric fan there, but it's not right really though, is it, you know?
Well, it's wrong, Dave, it's wrong.
No, it's perfect.
Now, you're probably wondering what Japanese sushi has to do with Best of British. Well, meet British scientist Kathleen Drew Baker.
In the 1940s, she did a lot of work in ways of developing the cultivation of nori seaweed. Nori seaweed is the seaweed that becomes these sheets that you roll your sushi rolls in. She developed loads of ways of making nori seaweed, which in turn led to sushi becoming more available and more popular. And indeed, April the 14th in Japan is a day dedicated to her, and they call Kathleen the Mother of the Sea.
In honour of Kathleen, we're going to make some nori rolls.
How's that rice coming along, Kingy?
That's got to be 10 minutes by now, mate.
Look at that. Stick.
Oh.
That's the sushi rice we know and love.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely perfect.
Take a sheet of nori seaweed and cut it into strips. Then cover your bamboo rolling mat in cling film. So take your nori. Now you start with it shiny side down. Now we want to cover, this is a narrow roll, up to there with the rice and leave about 1.5 centimetres, 2 centimetres. And don't put too much rice in. Got a good stick, but every grain's separate. Just a little smidgen of wasabi down the middle. Wasabi is a Japanese relative of horseradish, and be careful, it's powerful stuff. You don't want to create a pocket of wasabi. It's going to give somebody a dreadful fright.
Next, add some sliced raw salmon and cucumber.
Now just wet that edge. So we want this to form the seal. Roll it, try and keep that in the middle. And turn it over. Keep it tight. And with your mat, squeeze it like so. And your nori roll. Just cut into bite-sized rolls. And again, these are fresh and sticky. There's a million miles away from the supermarket dried up stuff.
Another variation using nori seaweed is gunboat sushi. Simply make a patty of rice, wrap a strip of nori around it, and then fill it with salmon or herring roe.
For nigiri or finger sushi, create an elongated patty of rice. Take your third finger and your thumb, like so, and you make the shape of the patty.
To go on top, we've got tuna, salmon and some king prawns on skewers, which I'm going to poach in a flavoursome mixture of 2 tablespoons of sake and 500 ml of water.
And this will just sweeten the prawns up even more.
Comes to the boil, try and put them in all at once so they cook all at the same time. Instantly they start to change colours.
1 minute.
And out they come.
Now place a dot of wasabi. Now take a piece of fish, and it's lovely tuna, put it on the top, like so, and again take it back to your hand, third finger and thumb, and kind of shape the fish around the rice patty. It's the first finger sushi. And nigiri sushi, it's like a handmade sushi. And it first started in the 1820s at a sushi stall in Ibo in Japan, when they used to make the rice in a mould. Now the fella, he was in a hurry, and a customer's waiting, so he started to form the patties by hand. And you put the fish on top, and it's as simple as that. And the thing is, it caught on. But nigiri sushi, they say, you never eat with chopsticks, always with your finger. Happy days. And that's homemade nigiri sushi.
How beautiful does that look?
Oh, aye. But get your rice right. The rest of it, yeah, it's just culinary macrame. They're just fresh. And that rice, it's sweet, it's savoury.
Fantastic. Now, this is the epitome of exotic. Fabulous.